In the world of fandom, there are franchises that are good and there are franchises that are bad. But every great now and then, we come across a franchise that is legendary. Today is one of those days. Honesty is the best policy, and this is an honest review. Watch out! Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. I'm ERod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster. In the late 90s and through the 2000s, Cartoon Network experienced a creativity boom. While the channel started by only airing reruns of classic cartoons, it was during this period that we saw them take a chance with original content, which led to the creation of many animated classics, such as Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory, and the Powerpuff Girls. And while all those shows were good and are most definitely worthy of your fandom, there was only one show from this era that was truly exceptional, and that serves a place amongst the greatest animated shows of all time, and that was Genndy Tartakovsky's Samurai Jack. Combining elements from Conan the Barbarian, Star Wars, and 70s samurai movies, Jack was one of a kind, and was the first big epic tale of the new millennium. Now, to tell Jack's story, I find it best to start from the beginning. And while the plot of the show is narrated at the beginning of every episode, just in case there is somebody watching this video who has never seen Samurai Jack before, allow me a moment to catch them up to speed.
The plot.
Long ago in a distant land, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But one brave samurai warrior, wielding a magic sword, stepped forth to oppose him. But before the final blow was struck, Aku tore open a portal in time and flung the samurai into the future, where Aku's evil is law. Now the samurai seeks to return to the past and onto the future that is Aku. Watch out!
Cast and characters.
While most animated shows feature about half a dozen lead characters and a multitude of rotating supporting characters, Samurai Jack featured a grand total of 2 lead characters, the hero and the villain, and that was it. In fact, in its initial 52 episode run, there was only one supporting character that appeared more than once, and that was everyone's favorite loudmouth Highlander, the Scotsman, played by John DiMaggio. This is one of the very few warriors that Jack comes across whose skills are on par with his. But outside of that, the 2 characters couldn't be more different. The Scotsman is a feisty, rude brawler who will tear you down verbally before he even draws his massive 6-foot sword. It is his and Jack's odd couple relationship that has made their encounters so unique and entertaining, helped him develop a strong fan following, and made viewers clamor for the creators to bring back the character again and again.
Remember me?
Alright, let's move on to the 2 main characters, the metaphorical yin-yang at the center of this epic tale, starting with the Shogun of Sorrow, the deliverer of darkness, the emissary of evil, Aku, played by the late great Mako. This is one of the greatest villains of all time. Aku is literally the first evil. Before humanity, before anything, all the malice and hatred in the universe was contained in one shapeless entity, so vile that the gods joined forces to destroy it. But a small portion of it survived, making its way to Earth, where it started to infect the land, viciously destroying everything in sight. Yes, it was Aku who killed the dinosaurs. After thousands of years of plaguing our planet, one brave Japanese emperor took it upon himself to destroy it by shooting it with a magic arrow. But in doing so, he inadvertently gave shape to the nightmarish being known as Aku. Unlike villains from other shows who may have some redeeming qualities, Aku has no such attributes. He is not human. He has no concept of mercy, remorse, or decency. He is an entity that is literally made out of pure evil. He's a trickster, a shapeshifter, and a sorcerer. And his only desires are to be worshipped and to watch others suffer. Now, with such straightforward character traits, one would assume that this character would become one-dimensional and boring, but that was never the case. Mako always played Aku with such a childlike revelry that it made the character hilariously entertaining. There are no misconceptions with Aku. He knows he's evil and he loves doing evil things. What I always found most impressive about Mako's performance was his ability to turn on a dime. Aku would go from being an impertinent goofball to an unflinchingly cruel bastard in the span of one sentence, and Mako would make the transition completely seamless. Also, as I mentioned before, one of the show's greatest influences was Conan the Barbarian, and no, it is no coincidence that Mako was in both.
I am Aku, this world is Aku, and everything in it is Aku!
Alright, let's talk about our titular character, the lone noble hero on a mission to save humanity from the tyranny of Aku, Samurai Jack, played by Phil Lamar. When Aku returned to destroy Japan and take over the world, the Emperor and his wife had a plan to send their only son on a journey around the world where he would be forged into a mighty warrior by humanity's greatest masters, and armed with a magical sword crafted by the gods for one purpose, to destroy Aku. Jack is literally our only hope. But sadly, he fails, and is vanished by Aku far into the future, where Aku has reigned supreme for over a millennia. So Jack travels the land in search for a way back. But what is truly intriguing about Jack is his kindness and his nobility, as he often diverts his quest or even gives up opportunities to go back in time in order to help others. Even though traveling back in time and defeating Aku would technically save everyone, Jack's conscience just doesn't allow him to ignore anyone in need. And that, my friends, is why Samurai Jack is one of my all-time favorite characters. Any writer worth of salt can write an anti-hero, but a true blue, straight-laced, white hat-wearing good guy, now that is a challenge, as it is incredibly difficult to write such a basic character without him becoming stale or boring. Jack is an incredibly well-rounded character. For example, even though Jack is Japanese, he doesn't just practice ninjutsu and samurai swordplay. Jack makes it a point to master weapons and fighting disciplines outside of his culture, such as Greco-Roman wrestling and Shaolin Kung Fu. And he doesn't stop there, as he continues to learn, evolve, and gain new skills throughout the series, which shows that Jack is open-minded, respectful of other cultures, and willing to improve himself, in spite of the fact that many consider him to be the world's greatest warrior. And that, fanboys and fangirls, is one of the greatest lessons that this show imparts upon its viewers. It doesn't matter how great you are, there's always more you can learn. There's always room for improvement. And like my dad always says, you never stop being a student. But my favorite aspect about Jack is not his amazing fighting skills, his nobility, or open-mindedness. It is quite simply that he is human. Hell, the entire premise of the show is based around Jack making a mistake. So yeah, in spite of his amazing skills, he's still just as flawed and just as vulnerable as the rest of us. In fact, one of my favorite recurring gags is how he has so much trouble mastering futuristic technology.
How are the repairs going?
It's both funny and relatable. But truly, it is his mortality that drives the drama and excitement of the show, as every moment could be Jack's last, and yet he dedicates every single one of those moments to try and save us.
This gateway to the past is once more beyond your reach.
You can fly? No. Jump good.
One of the most intriguing elements about this show is how the writers would create all of these great villains for Jack to fight and then discard them after only one episode. So, in honor of all of these one-off characters, here are my top 10 one-time antagonists. Number 10, the Master Thief. This obvious homage of Daisuke Jigen from Lupin III competes with Jack to steal a precious jewel from a pyramid, forging one of the most entertaining rivalries in the series. Number 9, Ezekiel and Josephine Clench. A couple of badass Wild West bounty hunters with some serious marital problems. Number 8, Mad Jack. Samurai Jack's evil doppelganger, brought to life by Aku's dark magic. Evenly matched with our hero in every way. Number 7, the Shadow Ninja. This stealthy assassin strikes viciously with deadly accuracy, engaging Jack in an epic bout of light versus darkness. Number 6. The Blind Archers, the most accurate and deadliest marksmen on the planet. To beat them, Jack must engage them on their own level. Number 5. The Imakandi, the greatest hunters in the universe, and one of the single greatest challenges Jack has ever faced. Number 4. The Minions of Set. These jackal-headed demons only have one weakness, but no one has ever been able to figure it out before being viciously dispatched in the blink of an eye. Number 3. The Ultra Robots. 8 high-powered assassins designed for one purpose: to kill Samurai Jack. Number 2. The Mongo, a disturbing entity from the pit of hate armed with the essence of all the warriors that he has vanquished. And the number 1 greatest one-time Samurai Jack adversary is the Samurai! I'm kidding. Number 1 is the Guardian. This particularly skilled warrior guards the time portal that many believe will lead Jack to the end of his quest. But to get to it, Jack must make his way through him. Also, I find it important to mention that the Guardian is one of the very few adversaries that Jack has ever faced to actually defeat him in single combat. And that earns him the number 1 spot in this list without contestation.
Character design and animation.
This show is a work of art in every sense of the word. Not only does it reflect excellence and quality through its characters and storytelling, but also through its look and style, as every frame of this show is worthy of hanging in an art gallery. The artistry that goes into the series is impeccable, capturing some of the most detailed action animation has to offer. This, of course, is complemented by the most simple yet mind-blowingly creative character designs ever, which strangely feature no outlines on any of the characters, causing them to perfectly blend into other colors for moments at a time, making the show memorable and unique. The recurring motif throughout the series is that of light versus dark, or good versus evil. This, of course, is represented in the very simple color palette. Jack is always in white, while Aku is always in black. Some very straightforward visual cues that inform even the most casual viewers of each of the characters' roles within the series. And of course, the influence is pretty damn obvious. And yes, Samurai Jack does share a strong resemblance with Professor Utonium from the Powerpuff Girls, but hey, the professor was never in this kind of shape.
Ladies?
Oh my gosh, he's so handsome!
Storytelling style.
If I taught a film class, I would make Samurai Jack required viewing. Why? Because it is the greatest example I have ever come across of visual storytelling. The dialogue, for the most part, is kept to a minimum. A good 75% of the story and exposition is delivered through action or visual cues. I think one of the major contributing factors for the show using this particular style is that the creator and showrunner is an animator, as opposed to being a talented writer or a big shot producer. Gendy knows animation. That is his strong suit, so that is the tool that he uses to tell his stories. And to be perfectly honest, the visual storytelling is so efficient in this show that it puts quite a few professional filmmakers to shame. Is it just me, or do these guys have way too much dialogue in their movies? While most of the episodes serve as the story arc of Jack trying to get back to the past, the show is still filled with a vast variety of unique stories. As the fact that Jack is stuck in this oddball version of the future which is filled with robots, aliens, advanced technology, and sorcery opens up the series to infinite storytelling possibilities, and the writers take full advantage of this, as they put Jack in all manner of diverse situations. And no idea is too strange or ridiculous for this show, as the writers were pretty damn fearless with their plot lines, leading to some very odd but very memorable episodes. For example, in Jack's sandals, the samurai's signature footwear is destroyed, and he spends the rest of the episode trying to find a pair of shoes that suit him. In Jack is Naked, his clothes are stolen. So he spends the entire day getting into one ridiculous predicament after the other in an effort to get them back.
Hey, you! You can't run around here almost naked!
But the one that takes the cake is Chicken Jack, or as the fans like to call it, Samurai Cluck, in which Jack gets turned into a chicken. Oh, you heard me right. I would talk about this episode some more, but there is no way in hell that I will do it justice. You're just gonna have to see it for yourself. While some of the tributes and homages were pretty subtle, others were more blatant, as the creators were not afraid to let you know the shows, movies, and comics that influenced the series. As we see tribute episodes to the aforementioned Star Wars,
Aren't you a little short for a demonic minion?
Evil Dead,
I will eat your soul!
Frank Miller's 300, and good old-fashioned film noir.
Lulu. Sweet thing.
So yeah, very much like Doctor Who, every time you sat down to watch Samurai Jack, you never knew quite what you were gonna get. This was especially evident on September 25th, 2004.
The Cancellation.
After 4 seasons, 52 episodes, and winning an Emmy for the Birth of Evil episode, Samurai Jack was cancelled. Yes, this show was cancelled the same year it won an Emmy. Why? Well, the reports vary, and it's hard to tell what's true and what's not. What we do know is that Cartoon Network was under new management, and they decided to move forward without Jack, abruptly taking the show off the air before it reached its pre-established conclusion. For many years, fans begged Genndy and Time Warner to bring back the series in some form or fashion, either as a miniseries or a movie, all for the sake of seeing Jack finally fulfill his quest. But as the years started to go by, a lot of people started to lose faith that we would ever see the legendary conclusion of this series. But there was still us, the hardcore fans, who held on to that tiny shred of hope as we knew that the day would come that we would all be able to cry out in unison, Jack is back.
Watch out!
Destroyed everything. Gotta get back to the past. Samurai Jack.